So recently, an Xbox Series X LED demo was released by the Coalition, showcasing just what the hardware can do. And they say it's a game changer for the entire industry. Let's talk about why. Before we do, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that bell, trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So please help me out there. Okay, so this story is from the GDC talk from Colin Penty, who showed off two demos. There's a demo of like an environment of a cave with a door that lights up and a cube in the middle, showcasing the new technology of the Unreal Engine 5 running on Xbox Series X hardware. Then separately, there was a character model that was very detailed, showcasing what they can do with a high-resolution character model, again, running on Xbox Series X hardware. So before I even look at my notes, a few things to talk about here. They are upscaling the texture from 1080p and 1440p up to 4K, and they show that the resolution is holding quite well. Like it's barely noticeable, the difference between actual 4K and this, but so that's quite impressive. They were targeting 60 FPS. The whole demo is it's in 30 FPS. They output at 4K super resolution, but it scales between 1080p and 1440p, and it then upscales from there to 4K. And at a few points during the conversation, they talk about trying to hit the 60 FPS target. They are working with Epic to get there, but right now they're hitting around 45 average FPS on the Xbox Series X console, and they are working at the specific things that they call out at the end of the presentation to get all the way to 60. So now that all that's out of the way, some of the things here, this looks stunning. 90% of these assets were created by the Coalition. 10% were made by this thing called Megascans, where you can bring in assets that are just readily available and start utilizing them. And the technology shown is just cool. If you haven't heard yet, Unreal Engine 5 uses nanite technology, which is really, really neat. And it also uses Lumen's tech, which allows it to do things like sort of like ray tracing, but without using ray tracing, for example. I guess that's the best way you can sort of say it. So what was really neat is this was all running on the Series X, and frame rate and res are not indicative of final output. And the reason is because that they are iterating and testing. This was sort of their, well, what can this engine do tech test? And this is what they came up with. They released the character render, they released the environment render, and they're also going to be showcasing something a little later on, they said, of the character in the environment and what that would look like in real time. It's pretty crazy. They said this technology is a game changer for the industry. And I think I've been watching a lot of the talks on YouTube and stuff lately where developers have gotten their hands on Unreal Engine 5 and just said they're blown away by what nanite is able to do. It gives you a lot of performance back. And yeah, you're getting like 300,000 to 500 triangles. That's where the Gears team felt comfortable. And in case you're wondering what that means, that's 15 times what a Gears 5 asset was. So yeah, pretty impressive stuff. Some challenges again, foliage can't use nanite because nanite doesn't support transparency. Some cool stuff. Fog is paintable and adds shadow to itself and to the ground. The textures are 2 times larger than what they were in the previous generation. They were mostly 4K, up from 2K in Gears 5. And later on in the presentation, he said that they tried 8K, and yes, they look great. They didn't notice any issues with it or anything like that, but it just seemed unnecessary for the purposes of this demo. Temporal super resolution is doing a really, really good job of upresing textures, meaning that you can look at them side by side and see what it looks like. And they tested it at 400% zoom, and you're upscaling from 1080p to 4K. You're going to get a much, much cleaner image using this tech. They tested at 400% zoom, and there's one thing they said. They said that there are Xbox specific opportunities here, according to Colin Penty. And I'm really, really curious what that is, because Xbox specific opportunities, that sounds exciting. What are these consoles able to do? And some negatives on this: it takes 0.47 milliseconds longer to upscale from 1080p. And then compared to Gen 4, it takes 1.264 milliseconds longer to upscale. Now that sounds like such a minuscule time, right? But you have to remember those milliseconds truly matter, because they have to calculate all those milliseconds. And you want to hit the frame rate, right? So when you're constantly eating away at your millisecond time, you're not going to be able to hit an appropriate frame rate, because you're just trying to do too much in a moment, so to speak. So the demo uses real-time shadow maps, meaning so the demo is using real-time shadow maps. Lumen reflections, they said they're a little, they're not quite there. They're not like, ray tracing or anything quite as eye-popping, but they're still pretty good. And Lumen will sometimes recalculate on camera cuts. That's a big problem. So that means when you switch camera, you'll see something sort of jarring, because it's sort of catching up to where the camera is pointed and bringing in that resolution. Coalition is working really closely with Epic. They're working on Epic to hit that 60 FPS target. But some of the stuff that really impressed them were the Lumen reflections. They thought they were amazing. They thought shadow maps were much improved. And using Nanite saves a lot of performance. And that's why they said Nanite is a real game changer for the industry. Nanite is that thing when PlayStation launched their demo and everybody was blown away, and for some reason people thought that could only run on PlayStation 5. Like, why would Unreal only work on one platform? That would be insane. It's open, like anybody can develop an Unreal. Only being able to launch it on one platform, it doesn't make sense for the software. But anyway, Nanite saves a lot of performance. They were able to get a real-time FPS counter in the engine, which is going to allow them to optimize performance, which means that when they launch their games, they're going to know exactly the moments that are dipping, and they'll have to make that decision as to whether or not they try and refine that particular scene or make sacrifices so that they can hit that 60 FPS target. That was really, really cool to see, just them sort of running around an engine. And they are confident that they can hit the 60 FPS target working with Epic. And Epic is working on the GPU for Series S. CPU is not an issue on the Series S, but there were some GPU optimizations they wanted to make. Specifically to the character, what they were really showing off was the groom topology, and there were improvements over Gears 5 of 4 times and 3 times in other areas of topology. But on the beard specifically, I shaved the other day, so I don't have one. One Xbox 360 character is contained within the eyelash of a character in Series X with this technology. So to give you an idea of what this thing can do, an Xbox 360 character fits in the eyelash. Yeah, the eyelash of the characters on an Xbox Series X. That's nuts to think about. Just to think how far the technology has come from the Xbox 360 days to now. And wow. Yeah. And then finally they said a cinematic test is on the way. And yeah, that's really, really exciting. So my personal reaction to this, I just want to throw that in there really quick. So all this is neat. This was all from a GDC talk of a developer, Colin Penty from the Coalition. He worked on Gears 5 and stuff like that. He is talking about what this technology is able to do for the Xbox Series X console, and commenting on how good it's going to be for the industry because of the tech that's going to be available for everybody to utilize. It has me tremendously excited, and I don't know about you, but if you've been watching any of the Unreal 5 reveals, the ones on PlayStation, the one on Xbox, and some of the stuff the developers are doing for games like well, I don't know if it's an Unreal, but I was going to say Forspoken. So I'll have to I'll have to make sure. Are they in Unreal? Are they not? Or are they using Fidelity? Or is it just that they're using Fidelity FX? The point is there are games coming that are going to be utilizing this technology, and I cannot wait. We're all in for a treat. No matter what platform you're playing on, it is going to be awesome. Yeah. So I really, really am excited after reading this. Sorry to nerd out with you about this, but hey, thank you for watching. If you do like these sort of videos, hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when they go live. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you would like to become a member, memberships are turned on and active. You can hit the join button and become a member today. I try and post videos with no ads, nothing. I just post them as soon as they're done. So this one will go live to members the second it is recorded, which is usually late at night. Thank you to everybody who's become a member. And if you like merch, I do have some merch available. If you would like to check that out, I opened the shop. It was sort of a fun project, and now there's merch for you to buy if you want it. I fixed the coffee cup because most people are right-handed, right? So now when you drink out of it, the logo will be out. That's it's supposed to be. And I ordered one because I'm egocentric. Probably. I don't know. All right. Well, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you for the next one. Bye, everybody.